Welcome to HeroQuest fans. We're getting ready to start once again the Crypt of Perpetual Darkness here on Twitch. We are live on Twitch, not live on YouTube, but thanks for supporting the replay anyway. And I see we have a couple of heroes with us already. First, let me shout out, as always, Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Check out his stuff on YouTube. Again, that's White Bat Audio. Great stuff. And before we get started, I do want to introduce our heroes here tonight. We've got Bohemius, and we've also got Glasgow Gargoyle. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello.
So,
Right.
yeah, we're doing great. I got started a little bit late here tonight because of all the excitement going on with the companion app, basically spoiling all of First Light, HeroQuest First Light. Did you guys check that out, or did you have any opinions you wanted to share before we get started? Acknowledging.
I love it. It's weird they released it before Jungles, before even hitting the shelves. But I I love it. It's, I really I try already the I searched the quest with the new board. I really like one. On the app the board look amazing.
Speaking of that, and I don't think I'm really spoiling anything because pictures of the new board were shown at Gen Con. And of course, just because you see the board doesn't mean you know how the rooms are going to be laid out. So,
Yeah, but we've seen it, and then playing it is different because it opens a lot of options that I didn't consider before.
no, absolutely. Yeah, so I think Glasgow, you don't mind if we show this, do you? You can avert your eyes.
No, it's fine. Not at all. No problem.
All right, cool. Okay, yeah, anybody who doesn't want to see spoilers, maybe close your eyes. Close the window for a second here. We're just going to show, not that. Oops. See, I try to be all like cool and everything, and then I don't show the right window. Let me get that again. Oh, I gotta resize it here. Yeah, so this image is actually I did not extract this, but somebody found this in the app. You can actually find it yourself if you have the companion app, which is free, by the way. It's on the Google Play and Apple App Stores. It's version 4.1 for the Android. For iOS, I think it was 4.0. But yeah, they added First Light. So this is what it looks like. This is what the caverns look like. And I was thinking, man, it's going to be hard for Zargon to like remix the quest because after people have seen it, I usually like to remix stuff, change it around a little bit so nobody can cheat. But you notice how the arena is over on the right-hand side. If you could flip the board the other way and put the arena on the opposite side pretty easily. Or if you own Against the Ogre Horde, what you could do is just use the arena tile that you have already in those two side rooms and just put it anywhere you wanted to change it up. So you're not stuck with this layout. And actually, the size of those rooms, I'm just judging by the size of those rooms, you could take the room tiles you have from other expansions and put them anywhere you wanted pretty easily. So, but we have it on good authority that the caverns are not used in every single quest, but they are used in a few quests. Okay, so yeah, it's one thing I'm noticing about just looking at it more carefully here, the caverns do have a bunch of dead ends. Dead ends are not something you usually see in HeroQuest, and in fact, the Adventure Design Kit always told you not to do them. I mean, there's definitely quests that have them, but yeah, you can have dead ends. But yeah, you could use, just like everything else, they tell you, here's the new assets, but use it however you want. I mean, we knew that, but it's cool that the developers tell us that too. So there was another image here. This is the dragon. I mean, we've pretty much seen this. This is the card image. This was actually posted by someone on Amalgamash's Discord, the Amalgam Archive. And I want to apologize to Ash because I wasn't trying to be annoying or anything, but I posted in the wrong section, so I had to delete the thread and move it. So sorry about that, Ash. I wasn't trying to be annoying. But yeah, so that's that. And then if you want to know more spoilers, you can go to HeroQuest Fans Discord. I'm sure other people on other sites are posting their own spoilers as we speak. But we have images of all the quest maps. Now, what remains to be spoiled? Well, just because you have the app doesn't mean you know everything about it. I mean, we don't know what's in the rule book. That was carefully guarded at Gen Con. If anybody did get to see it, they're not talking about it. And who's to say they had every single card, right? There's this new artifact, which I won't mention the name of here, but it's in the app, but we never saw a physical card at Gen Con. So maybe they just chose not to bring it or hadn't been printed yet. So there could be other surprises in there that we haven't seen. We didn't see the back of the GM screen. Some people saw it. They haven't commented on it. So I think Doug was pretty much telling people, hey, we want it to be a surprise. So nobody signed any NDAs or anything that I'm aware of, but it was just kind of a friendly thing. Hey, if you know this stuff, maybe just kind of keep it quiet. So we did. We didn't spread it around. But now that the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, they've officially put this out, even though First Light is not available to purchase yet. You can test it out. You can try before you buy. So I don't know, Glasgow. What's your thought on this? Do you think this is a good idea that they did this, or do you think it'll cause problems for them to put all this stuff out?
Well, my first impression was that this was a mistake, and I still kind of wonder if it's a mistake that this has been put out before the game
too early
has actually been released.
Maybe somebody got their dates wrong. Kind of like I was telling everybody I was going to meet with Luca Pasci.
Yeah, they posted First Light instead of Jungle.
Yeah, no, guys,
they mixed up.
Posted the wrong one. Yeah. See, it says 4.0. It's actually 4.1 if you install it. But it may be that 4.0 is what the iOS version has, and then 4.1 was the Google Play, the Android version. But yeah, if they made the mistake, they did it twice because they posted it to both, and I don't see it going away. But I mean, if you're concerned about that, go ahead, download it if you want to see. But yeah, what would they do? They would just run with it, or they'd go, oh, sorry, it wasn't ready for prime time yet. I mean, there could be glitches in it, but it's usually how they do it is the version numbers. So like 3.0, let's take a closer look. So 3.0 added against the Ogre Horde. Of course, they posted the same thing for 3.1, but usually it's it'd be like the whole number is the new expansion, and then the decimal points are the updates, like bug fixes, patches. I guess version 1.8 was Rise of the Dread Moon, looking back here. Some stuff isn't in there yet, so Rogar's Hall is still not added. And why do I keep mentioning it? Well, because people who have looked at the data in the APK for the app have pointed out that the voice acting is there for Rogar's Hall. So I think every time there's new features, I mean, it probably takes longer because they have a small team and they have to code it in there, all the new features from scratch. So Jungles of Delthrak, it kind of makes a little bit of sense to me why it didn't appear sooner, because what does First Light have that's new? Not a whole lot. Whereas Jungles of Delthrak has a lot of new things, a lot of new mechanics and artwork and stuff. So they could probably get by with putting First Light out. But yeah, so soon before the release, it's kind of weird, because if it's November, I mean, we're at the end of September. Then again, October to November, when you think about past releases, I mean, a month early is not that big. of a jump. But yeah, I mean, nobody's like opening up their Amazon boxes like right now. I mean, I was looking online to see if maybe I'd missed something, like if Target or Walmart had it posted, but nope. And I didn't even see Pulse with anything. I haven't checked their Instagram or X accounts to see if anybody's officially commented. But maybe if anybody in the chat knows about that. Hey, Rob Champ. Yeah, if anybody knows about any more updates about First Light, if Avalon Hill said anything officially yet, go ahead and post it in the chat if you want. I wasn't going to take up the entire time talking about this because we probably could easily. I'm sure, Bohemius, you could talk about this for a couple hours if you wanted. But
I mean, I can't even remember if has First Light been up for pre-order on Hasbro Pulse or anything like that.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't recall. Yeah, I don't recall pre-ordering or anything either. And isn't the idea of the companion app? I mean, the companion app, the whole idea is you have the actual physical board in front of you,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
you are using the app merely as the Zargon.
That's right. That's right.
So it just seems to make no sense at all for this to be released so soon.
Mm-hmm. Well, the nice thing about the app is it lets you see some of the cards. It lets you see the basic layouts of the quests. And yes, if you play it, I mean, you're missing certain things because, yeah, you're supposed to have the deck of treasure cards. You're supposed to have the dice. But if you already had the game system, you can do just about everything except anything that involves the caverns are going to be a little off. The dragon we know is a 2-square monster, so you'd have to use some type of proxy because even the mythic dragon is just 1 square. But I mean, the spells are the same. They're tweaked, but spells are the same. Artifacts, treasures, equipment. So you could do it. So I guess First Light is unique in that way. But yeah, it makes me wonder.
I saw the first part of your video on YouTube, and it mentioned. Well, I don't want to say anything I shouldn't here, but you were looking at the wizard on the app.
Yeah.
And there was something about a blessing.
Yes. So we've kind of known for a while that there was something called blessings and curses in the game, but we didn't really know what that meant. And in the app, so the way that it's handled in the app is you click on the icon of the hero that you've got in your party, and you've got, use spell or use special. So use special is how the app lets you activate certain consumable treasures, artifacts, equipment, and use blessing is like a new category, so they just added it. And the way it works is when you click on it, it gives you some little lore text, and it says you can either use the blessing to reveal a room without opening the door, or you can re-roll your dice. Like re-roll your dice. So I guess any dice roll. But what are the details? How do you get the blessing, or how many times can you use it? Then the other aspect of it is after you use the blessing, it prompts you to say, well, which hero is cursed? It's like, what? So does that mean every time you're blessed, you're automatically cursed as well? Like, it makes me kind of wonder, is this sort of like, and I haven't played it, but Prophecy of Telor, how the Talisman of Lore can give you things that can also cause side effects. So without the booklet to explain it, we don't know. Because the rule book, it may not just be exactly the same as the game system rule book. It may have other explanations, like some of the things Doug talked about, like the sly storage, where you draw 2 cards when you search the cupboard, or how the fireplace can heal you. So I bet blessings and curses are explained either there or maybe in the first few pages of the quest book that nobody has shown, So, but yeah, it's in there. You can use it if you want. Anything else you wondered about before we get started? again, I wasn't going to take up the whole time talking about First Light, but I just wanted to acknowledge it so we aren't just getting distracted wondering about it while we're trying to play. It does make me think that maybe there was a change in creative direction a little bit, because I know when we interviewed Encarming at Gen Con last year, he was like, they were shying away from any like religious references in the game for various reasons. But I don't know. The Blessings and Curses seems like they're kind of opening up, feeling like, hey, it's okay to mention this stuff. I mean, it's generic. They're not, inserting somebody's personal beliefs into the game. It's just, this is how this works. Could be magic. It could be something else. But we may be seeing more of that moving forward. I guess they're gauging very carefully. What will players accept? And what, like, because when the Monk was coming out, I remember people were concerned that, oh, this is going to be copying something in Dungeons and Dragons. But it's like, I don't think most people saw it that way, because they saw it as D&D and HeroQuest both do it. They both evoke sort of generic not sci-fi, but high fantasy, sword and sorcery type stuff from other media. So even though they don't say it's Conan the Barbarian, you kind of look at the Barbarian and go, yeah, that kind of reminds me of Conan. And it's cool. It's not like, that's a ripoff. It's like, oh, that reminds me of something that I like, and I can easily imagine it in this game. So somebody wants to have like a fantasy monk, there you go. Somebody wants to have a fantasy blessing, there you go. Fantasy dragon. It's not like someone's going to say, oh, no, you can't do that. That's trademarked. That's somebody else's property. It's so generic, anybody can use it. I don't know. That's my take on it. But we'll see more as time goes on, I'm sure. Well, Bohemius, did you have any? Or
Yeah, I don't believe. I mean, there's so many universe out there, fantasy, and all of them inspire one each other.
oh yeah,
Okay, let's say the source is always the same folklore or whatever, but already the idea to add different classes to HeroQuest, okay, is to make it more mainstream with all the other systems.
mm-hmm.
Dungeons and Dragons already use all the main archetypes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
HeroQuest just expanded like a fan will do. The fan will add exactly the same classes because it's what we like. Okay, different heroes, different abilities, different way to play the game.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay, so the inspiration, okay, it can be the same archetype, but you understand what is important is the lore. If the lore is different, okay,
mm-hmm.
It's not the same. Okay, even if it's a druid, you put a druid in a game, but in Dungeons and Dragons got a background story and an heritage. If you change the game, they have a different details of the story, so is maybe even completely different. So the same it could be in HeroQuest. Since they don't put any background, so you can create the background you want in HeroQuest.
Exactly.
There's no reason to be worried about the classes.
Yeah. Well, and I would add to that, I agree with you. They did begin, I guess, to sort of fill in some of the background, you could say, with the Barbarian and Elf quest packs. But still, even though they're describing maybe the location, they give very few details about your character. So your Barbarian might be totally different than someone else's barbarian if you're trying to imagine a backstory. Or if you're just wanting to play the game without worrying about it, maybe you don't have any backstory. You just have a name. I always kind of tease people who don't want to name their characters. It's like, okay, fine. Your name is Barbarian. Your name is Elif. Your name is, whatever. Wiz of Zard. But right. They leave gaps. They leave generic stuff. But like you say, they give it a little bit of a spin, so it's not exactly like anyone else's. But they still leave a wide area of empty space that you can insert your own imagination into, if you so choose. And I think that's perfect.
Yeah, the beauty of HeroQuest is always that you can add your story.
Mm-hmm.
Every single group of player have his own story, and can create their own backgrounds.
Yeah.
Because nothing is set. Even for example, the rogue. Okay, he's a rogue, but he's presented kind of like a character. Okay, if of an existing lore story. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but his own story, not the rogue story. I don't know if I explained it correctly, because he's the rogue heir of Elethorn.
Right.
So he's a noble from Elethorn. Okay, this character.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't mean that all the rogue are coming from Elethorn.
Right.
I mean,
are they all children of that same royal family, or this is just
exactly.
one particular rogue who has this?
Yes.
Plus, you could always say, well, rogues are mysterious, so maybe this backstory that everyone thinks they know is not his real story. Maybe they know him as Strider, but really he's Aragorn, son of Arathorn, the heir of Isildur.
Yeah, and maybe the rogues aren't all elves. Okay, the card art has an elf, but modern HeroQuest seems to be, on that view of the race doesn't define the character.
You can see it on for example, on the druid. Okay, in the mythic version is a human, in the new version is an halfling. So it doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. The race, you can choose whatever you want to do it. It's just of course they can mass produce druids of every race to put it in a box would be possible, but they give you already the idea that no, you can do whatever you want. You can have any race to play.
Yeah, that was the best point ever you guys made. Yeah, because the Guardian Knight, same way, they show that panoramic picture in the little ad, the little promo for it, the promo video they did, where you see Guardian Knights like with all kinds of faces. So you see men, women, you see orcs, even, you see elfin-looking characters. The monk, some of his action cards, he's got pointed ears.
So
it's like
dwarves.
Yeah, or dwarves. Yeah, dwarf-looking characters. So just because the miniature looks one way, you could paint it to have a different skin color, hair color, or whatever. But yeah, you could imagine it's something completely different.
Or you can use a miniature that you already have, in your collection, or you create a custom miniature just for your character. You create your own character.
So like a Wookiee Jedi.
Yeah, I mean, which if you think which heroes are on the card are defined by their race, that would be, or species, if species is a better word, elf and dwarf are the only two. Everything else is a character type.
Yep.
But the best.
And what is the wizard? Is the wizard depicted as a human? Because is Mentor a human? The Mentor seems to have lived for millennia.
Well, maybe he's got a large supply of elixirs of life to keep him going. That's my headcanon. But, well, you think, even though it's not the same,
that's cool.
In Lord of the Rings, I mean, Gandalf is not actually a man. He's an Astari or something? It's some other type of creature entirely, but he looks like an old man. And same thing with the other wizards, the blue wizards, and Radagast and Saruman. So
Yes, they're Maya. They're Mayan spirits or something.
did I use the wrong term?
Maya.
Oh.
Maya, so they're like kind of, let's say, an angel, kind of
Yeah, an
Yeah, and
angelic kind of figure. I'm still
character.
kind of a newbie when it comes to the Tolkien
Well,
lore, so sorry if I used the
well,
wrong term.
I just recently educate myself on the pantheon of Lord of the Ring. Okay, so
Oh yeah.
because I was very lazy when I was 15 and never read the Silmarillion.
Oh, or the
I read the other
appendices.
books,
Yeah.
but I had the Silmarillion there in my room. Never opened it. I mean, I read the first passages. I got bored. Okay, because it was not the kind of story I like to read
Yeah.
when I'm 15.
Yeah, I'm reading the appendices to the Lord of the Rings now. I did my first for real read through of it, and yeah, I'm gonna read the Silmarillion and also the Hobbit as well. But yeah, it's yeah, I've been told okay, it's like reading an encyclopedia, but actually there are stories in it, so there's little vignettes. But it's different than
Yeah, but
reading a
it's like
straightforward
an
novel.
anthology. Like somebody said last time, was
Mhm.
the perfect description is an anthology.
An anthology, yeah, a compendium, an omnibus, so to speak. Because I don't know if I have the money or the patience to buy all 22 volumes of the history of Middle Earth and read all that. But it's like, what kind of fan are you? Okay, fine. That just seems like a reference library. Like, okay, am I really that interested in finding out, what this particular character did? Like, if it was easy to reference, like, okay, well, what was this character doing? Like when I read Lord of the Rings, it was like I'm like, gee, some of these characters are not very fleshed out. Like they just kind of introduce them and they do stuff. But then in the appendices, it's like, oh, this is what was going on. Because if you just watched, like, let's say the Peter Jackson movies, they have flashbacks and other stuff happening. That's mostly drawn from the appendices because a movie watcher is not going to be flipping back and forth in a book. They're going to be like, okay, who is this guy? Oh, here's a little side story explaining why this happened or why there's this relationship between these two characters. So, like an example, Aragorn and Arwen, like their whole relationship, like that gets fleshed out in the appendices. So it's like if you have that in mind while you're reading it, you're like, oh man, all this stuff, like he's dreaming about her, he's remembering all this stuff. Whereas in the movie, they just kind of feed it to you, like there it is. And they expanded her role a little bit too. It's kind of funny to hear about some of the things that were deleted from the Peter Jackson one. Like he went way off base at a couple places, but still, it would have been interesting to see. Like they had, like Arwen like goes to the Battle of Helm's Deep, I think, and she's in disguise. So just like Eowyn later, because she was keeping an eye on Aragorn. But that wasn't in the book. But somehow it fits. It's like, okay, well, maybe she would have done something like that. But yeah, it would have changed the story.
Yeah. Anyway, talking again about the races and classes. The knight that comes with the Rise of the Red Moon got an helmet, so it can be any humanoid class. It can be an elf. It can be an orc if you paint the hands green.
Sure. Yeah, you could imagine underneath that helmet.
Yeah.
If this were the 80s, the helmet comes off and like the knight shakes the head and then you see all the blonde hair, long hair coming out. It's like, oh, there it is. It's a lady. Yeah, and then she'd say some sarcastic quip about, the guys can't get the job done or something, Yeah, you just make it up. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of Lord of the Rings influences in HeroQuest. You could say the same thing about D&D. So just because something is like that in Lord of the Rings doesn't mean it would be that way in HeroQuest, but still it's kind of fun to imagine and like look for where they were clearly inspired or trying to like evoke that same kind of thing. But yeah, in your headcanon, you could copy it, you could make it something completely different if you wanted. Ribby! talking
Yeah,
through First Light.
I'm sure. I'm sure if Games Workshop in the past would have expanded on Hero Quest, the lore of Hero Quest will be more bound to the lore of Warhammer.
Warhammer,
But
yeah.
right now, yeah, right now is a completely new
Yeah.
thing.
And yet, I still, even though I'm less of an expert on Warhammer lore as well. I mean, I mostly just read stuff online, or the books that I have are very outdated as far as that goes. It's still, I feel like you can tell that they know about Warhammer lore, and they know where the boundaries are. Like, they can't just copy and paste something that would be in Warhammer as if Games Workshop was still actively working with Hasbro on it. And yet they still are able to kind of like remind you of something. So if you're one of those players who is using Warhammer as you go, can easily go, oh yes,
yeah.
the Chaos Moon is the Dread
keep
Moon.
doing.
Yeah.
They keep doing that because let's think just about against the Overlord. Okay, there's in Warhammer there's a strong historical connection between the ogres and the Alflings. So the choice of the druid being an Alfling have meaning.
Now, are they actually called halflings in Warhammer? I couldn't remember. Or are they gnomes or something else?
Yeah,
because they can't use hobbits, just like D&D couldn't use
yeah,
hobbits. They
Alfling.
halflings.
Yeah, I think
Probably,
halflings, yeah.
probably.
Find the halflings. Like a slang term for hobbits. Small folk, smaller than dwarves. Or dwarfs. Yeah. But I mean, I was reading about the Chaos Moon, and it's not the same as the Dread Moon, but it's like, okay, there's some equivalent within Warhammer that you could draw from if you wanted to. Or the dinosaur troops, like I didn't know that was in there. I mean, I have the 3rd edition book. I should have known as I was skimming through it, looking at the different units. I mean, dragons are in there. Half-orcs are in there. Ribby. Ribby's here. I think. I can't see him in the list, but I see him in the chat.
Yeah, half-orcs are a race that is being abandoned by Warhammer.
Lord of the Rings has half-orcs and half-elves and half-trolls and all that, but I don't know. I think that might be some type of like political thing. Like they're worried that people will hear that and think it means something derogatory in real life, which drives me nuts. And I know this isn't the Rantcast, but it's like, it's fantasy. Everyone can relax. But companies want to be really careful too. So maybe they just say, yeah, if you're a half-orc, you're a full orc. If you're a half-ling, you're a full ling. Ling? I'm kidding.
Yeah, well, we haven't had Hobgoblin in Hero Quest yet, but that's a thing as well in Warhammer, I think.
Yeah, when does the goblin earn his hob so he can properly hobnob with the hobgoblins? I'm kidding around. I'm ignorant of such things. Hobgoblin is what, a bigger one? Bigger goblin?
I think it's a big. I would have said either a bigger goblin or maybe
Yes,
halfway between a goblin and an orc, or are goblins just are goblins a subset of orcs?
Oh yeah, because I always thought of them as like different species, but in Lord of the Rings it's unclear. Yeah. They might just be big goblins are called orcs and small orcs are called goblins or something. Maybe a hobgoblin is an orc. But yeah, that's whenever they add new monsters, you wonder, like, yeah, what are they drawing from? Okay, so Ribby.
Well, I still think Hero Quest are trolling us by not having trolls.
Could be. Yeah, because the closest we ever got was White Dwarf saying, "Hey, if you want to buy one of those Citadel trolls, here's how you could use them in a quest."
Well, yeah, it's something I wanted to ask exactly about it, because when when we were playing in the 90s, okay, everything that comes out from White Dwarf for us was canon.
Yeah.
Completely, 100%. So
Yeah, no question.
even if they, yes, is their product, they produce something in an official magazine. Even all the expansion for Warhammer Quest is all canon. It's not. You cannot, just because it's never been put in a box, not considered canon.
Oh, I see where you're going.
How do you?
Are you wondering if this was part of the deal? Like, did Games Workshop say you can use those, or was that like separate? Like, was it not on the table?
No, it's not. In my opinion, it's not separate. I mean, it's in the moment. It's published on White Dwarf. You acquire White Dwarf with money. Okay, you bought a product. Okay, so every expansion in White Dwarf, because they had a second magazine that was called, how was called the other magazine? I don't remember. They had another magazine with unofficial rules. Okay, for. Do you remember the name of the magazine, Glasgow, of the other one?
There was a magazine called Deathblow, but that might have been for Warhammer Quest that I'm thinking of.
Just for whatever Quest. But you said all those rules, okay, are like little expansion. So for me, the troll is canon because it exists in White Dwarf. What I mean.
Yeah.
The Trolls layer canon for the old Hero Quest, of course, because Avalon Hill never reprint this quest, never modified, never create character from it.
Well, and those quests, if I'm not mistaken, were actually written by Games Workshop employees, and they were using Citadel miniatures. I suppose if they had released a separate miniature and booklet and whatever with the Milton Bradley logo on it, maybe it would have been part of the deal. I wonder if, I know one of those authors is deceased, at least that's what I've been told. So rest in peace to that guy. But yeah, would they have to get permission from Games Workshop again to publish those, or would it just be, I mean, I kind of thought, yeah, it'd be cool to have trolls, but at the same time, if people just know about those quests and can play them, it's just kind of like extra value. It's like a free bonus quest. I don't know. What do you think?
Make you another example. Dungeon Ball. Okay, there is an expansion of Blood Bowl. Okay, it's been published first on Games Workshop, and it became popular on Games Workshop. Sorry, on White Dwarf. I mean, it became popular as a game of Games Workshop, and to the point that recently they even publish it in a box. Okay, so those games, even if they are published on the magazine for us was like a Bible to follow, because it was everything that comes from the magazine was canon.
Yeah, before the internet, I remember getting not White Dwarf because I was in the U.S., but I mean like video game magazines. Or science magazines, sci-fi magazines. I loved pouring those over when they came out because you just had so much information. Then you could talk to your friends about it. But now it's different with digital.
The other magazine was called Citadel Journal.
Citadel Journal. Okay.
Okay. Citadel Journal was practically an extension with a lot of extra rules for all the games, okay, and Games Workshop. But the feeling was different. It was really feeling like it was like homemade. It was house rules. While White Dwarf had like the official stuff.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like White Dwarf.
So my question was exactly how do you feel about it? You never considered like canon, I guess, the stuff that comes from from the magazine.
My personal view is it sounds like it was as official as anything else. I mean, to say it wasn't, to me, would be like saying, well, Wizards of Morcar isn't canon because it's not like republished in the new thing. Like, In the old thing, it was, so it's canon. Or yeah, if you're North America, is the Japanese Hero Quest canon? Yeah, it's an official product. Why wouldn't it be? I mean, as opposed to like a fanzine, like Drago Brazil. I mean, that stuff was really popular, but it wasn't. I don't think it was officially sponsored or endorsed by Milton Bradley or George
those one I don't consider them canon because because they're not Games Workshop.
It's fan creation. Yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's just that, and people remember it fondly, but yeah, it's different than something they actually put out. But yeah, it would be nostalgic for people who remember it to see those quests published again, and maybe miniatures coming out that are like Hero Quest compatible, so to speak. And then for people like me who just know about it from the internet, you know, it would just be like, it wouldn't have that same nostalgia, but I would certainly respect it. You know, the fact that this is something that comes from that same time period. You know, it's kind of like finding an old draft of Star Wars from the 70s. It's like, that has interest and value to me just because it's from that time and that authorship, as opposed to something you just made today, whether it's official or not. So yeah, it'd be cool if they did it. But yeah, are they trolling us with lack of trolls? Well, like Doug Hopkins was saying over and over at Gen Con, if you want it, put it on social media. So if you want trolls, tell them that you want trolls. All jokes aside. And Space Crusade, yes. Yeah, Ribby's got Space Crusade now. That's a game changer. I don't have a whole lot of interest in Blood Bowl or Dungeon Bowl or whatever, but I mean, it looks cool. It looks kind of interesting, kind of fun. It's a great idea. It's just, I've spent so much money on collecting the stuff. I'm just kind of like, well, let somebody else get it who wants it. Or Space Hulk or whatever.
It was just an example.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a good example, though. It's a good example. Yeah. So, all right. 2 minutes. If anybody wants to talk about First Light some more, I don't know if anything new has happened or anybody had any new thoughts, but I'm open for a few more minutes. I think Hispazargon sent me a message. I'm going to see what he said. Is it something we
I was checking around. I can't see any update. Yeah.
Ooh. Okay. So Hispazargon, if you guys remember, he has done a lot of great work for the community. A lot of translation stuff, a lot of historical things. He also is famous for doing his own like little difficulty calculator for the different quests. And he's already worked fast. He's whipped up one for First Light. So I'm excited to see that. I don't know if he's going to post it now or if he's going to be posting it like.
Oh yes, today. Please.
Yeah.
Espa, give us the the results.
The difficulty, yeah. Now he's admitted that his system has its limitations. I mean, it's based on, I think, monster body points and trap frequency, and a few other things, but it gives you kind of an idea. I think it's useful, especially for comparing like how one quest pack is compared to another.
Yep. Oh, Hispazargon's here.
Oh, he is.
There you go.
Hello, sir. Welcome.
Hi guys, how are you?
Oh, doing great. This was the moment you've been waiting for, wasn't it?
More or less. I was checking the app.
Perfect. Okay. Well, share your thoughts if you like.
Yeah, what do you think about the First Light leaks by means of the app, the Hasbro app, the official app?
You want to know my thoughts specifically, or to the whole group?
Yeah, do you think it has been intentionally or not? Or it has been maybe a mistake?
I have a theory. It's probably, just a conspiracy theory, but my theory is that they knew all along that some people had, let's say, peeked at the book. I won't say who those people were, but they thought we need to get this out fast because the people are ready to burst. Now, does this mean that the First Light release is coming out sooner than expected? I'm inclined to think that's also true, but unfortunately we don't know what the the original planned date was. I mean, we had heard that somebody at Avalon Hill mentioned to someone at Gen Con. It wasn't me. They mentioned to someone at Gen Con, well, we're hoping it'll be January, February. But then somebody else, I think it was Axion, mentioned that he suspected it was November. He didn't say how he thought that, and maybe some other people did too. I don't have any insight into that. But if November, let's just speculate for a second and say November was the official date. Pretty much every other release 1 month early is very common. So October, I mean, we're almost in October. Now, we've heard nothing about like pre-orders or orders. So it's not the same as like people getting it on Amazon early, knowing the release date way ahead of time. So I guess it's not exactly the same, but probably they were thinking, yeah, it's coming out pretty soon. Let's just release it. It's certainly unusual because usually we think the product comes out first. Then, so did somebody jump the gun? I mean, this is very different than those cases where we've seen stores like putting out the product and then, oops, just kidding, and then they take it down. It's not. This is Hasbro. This is somebody at Hasbro that did this. So did they screw up? I don't personally think they did, but I don't know. Go ahead. What's your thought?
But even if it is released in November, I see quite soon, 1 month before, leaking everything with the app.
They're basically saying
quite strange. Even if
you can play it, they're saying go ahead and they're basically saying go ahead and play it. Is what they're
yeah. Well, nice.
Do you think they did it purposely for playtesting, or do you think they really did screw up? Like they meant to put jungles and they clicked on the wrong button, or miscommunication?
Maybe it's maybe it will allow playtesting it in advance, but it's a quite risky strategy, in my opinion. Because think about the people who already have the base game of HeroQuest, the game system.
Yes.
If they were thinking about buying or not First Light box, they will be probably interested in the quest book, maybe the dragon miniature and the new board, and nothing else. Probably not too many other things. If they release it in advance and you find the board elsewhere by who knows, a table, another company or whatever, or you can make it by your own. There will be many First Light boxes that will not be sold probably because of that. Well, I am guessing, of course, this is all speculation, but
sure.
I see it a quite risky tactic, in my opinion.
Do you let me ask you this, Zargon. Do you think the people who would be willing to just print the board, print out the quests, or just use the app only, do you think those are the type of people who wouldn't buy the physical box anyway? Or do you think these are people who would decide, well, I could save $50 and just not buy it but play it anyway?
Well, it's a difficult question. Of course, we don't know, but I think it's true that many people will not have such hype, such surprise once they have already checked it in the app by themselves, or maybe just if they start to see it everywhere in media, YouTube channels and so on, talking about this, spoiling everything. But that's my first feeling during this Friday. We have the news just right now, so that's my first feeling. Maybe I will change it a little bit the next days.
After we've had
first reaction is that.
I really like the theory of Sikashem. Okay, actually the First Light is going to be imminent as a new product. So in Sikashem said that if somebody is going to buy the game for the very first time, okay, if you have the app already updated for the quest is going to play, is going to create more positive feedbacks.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. I have not said you anything, Bohemius and Jay. Sorry. But you were there also.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, that's another theory, of course. Yeah.
It kind of makes me think of the whole piracy debate. I mean, from the standpoint of companies, piracy is wrong, of course, because it's someone has a chance to get their product for free, they might not buy it, and so they go after people who they catch, pirating their products. But this is not the same sort of thing. This is the company saying, "Here's our product. Go ahead and take a look at it." So it's almost like they're giving it away without giving you the physical thing. So people often use the phrase "try before you buy." I suppose you would have people who would say, well, the whole reason I'm getting HeroQuest is because I don't want to write the quests myself. I want the simple adventure prepackaged, ready to go and play, and it's too much work for me to sit down and redo the whole thing. Oh, thanks for the support, Sombraxel, appreciate that. Yeah, so some people would say, well, now that the surprise is gone, I don't want it. On the other hand, you could have people who are like me back in the 90s and the early 2000s. I was such a Star Wars fan when I heard about spoilers for like episode 1, 2, and 3. I was like, I don't want to see it. I'd like get off the internet so that I wouldn't see any spoilers. I watched the trailer and that's it. So some people might refuse to peek. Now for others, the temptation would be too great. They would look at it and go, oh, now that I know, well. But I think if they're deep into it, they know that they can easily remix the quests. But First Light is targeting brand new players, so would they be brave enough yet? Your thoughts?
Yeah, of course. I have already seen in Spanish media that there has been people just checking the app a little bit and seeing, oh, okay, there is First Light right inside. Okay, well done. But I don't want to be too much a spoiler. Yes, of course, there are also many people like that. It's welcome for sure.
Yeah. At one time, I would have been the sort of person who would say, no, I don't want to know anything about it. Now, if I'm playing as a hero, I might say, hey, Zargon, I have seen I've peeked at the book, so can you change things up a little bit? Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion, as far as I have checked it, the app, it looks really, really well.
Yes.
I really love the story, characters, let's say, I think it's a bit more challenging quest pack than the basic game, the game system, of course. Yeah, I'm already right now checking, the difficulty and those kind of topics.
Yeah.
And it looks really well. I think Stephen Baker has put a lot of effort on this First Light thing. And I think it will work quite well, and the people will like it. That's my impression.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you. I mean, if people didn't know who Stephen Baker was by now, surely they've seen his work on Prophecy of Telor, and his reputation alone sells it for some people now. But yeah, I also got that impression. I probably haven't gone over it as with a fine-tooth comb like you have, as you're required to do the difficulty calculation, but it looks like it's in the spirit of classic HeroQuest. I certainly had that impression at Gen Con, and nothing has taken away that feeling thus far. So yeah, I think people will be impressed.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it looks like the classic HeroQuest, of course, but at the same time it adds a lot of new flavors and new things, but not going too far. And I love such kind of strategy in designing HeroQuest quest packs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those early reports saying simplified rules, that was definitely a miscommunication. I think you could say there's a simplified explanation of the rules with the reference cards that we saw that Ribby shared with us. I mean, they give a pretty good rundown of simplifying the gameplay, and they clarified a few things on the cards to say, oh, you can't do this, but you can do this. But yeah, we know about the arena rules are being used. There's some other things that appear in later quest packs. Dare I say it, multi-phase monsters. So Yeah, but not so advanced. Not like Rise of the Dread Moon or Jungles of Deltrak, where you're gonna have to like
Yeah.
relearn portions of the game before you play, or it won't make sense, or you'll be confused, or Zargon will be flipping around reading pages, right?
Yeah, well, we have already had this discussion. In my opinion, Rise of the Dread Moon went a little bit far in some mechanics, but yeah, that's another topic.
Another discussion. Let me just
Another
say, I
good
don't.
point.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah.
that. I just
No,
say this
sorry.
real quick. Yeah. Jumping on you.
Yeah,
I-
you know, I am a bit
excited.
far, so the audio delay is it's
Oh, yeah,
a problem.
I'm-
But yeah, I was
Go ahead.
just saying that First Light, I think, puts in value again the content of the game system box. It demonstrates again that just with the game system box and some new items, you can make an awesome story, an awesome quest pack with the same components. You don't need so many new monsters, so many traps, So it reminds us that the game system box is enough to make very good adventures, like in the classic game.
Yes, the creativity, the imagination. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Not every kid was lucky enough to own all these different expansions, and even if you just got Keller's Keep, Return of the Witch Lord, it's like you only had a few new components, but yeah, you made whatever you wanted. So that's another great point in its favor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to say though that I heard, and I didn't actually see any of this in our Discord or in Yield In, so it might have been other communities where people said they didn't like Rise of the Dread Moon or Jungles of Deltrak. Well, maybe Carnigal had some caveats with it, but other than him, I didn't get the impression that many people thought it was actually bad. I guess what I'm trying to say is I didn't think Rise of the Dread Moon was bad. I didn't think it was poorly designed or not fun or anything. I mean, we've had a great time playing it. But as far as Zargon's perspective, it took more homework for me to get ready, even though I was an experienced Zargon. Like, I just dived in and I found myself flipping through different pages because I couldn't remember how like the caltrops worked or what precisely you could do in the hideout. So I was looking at stuff. So my recommendation was, yeah, if you're going to play Rise of the Dread Moon, read over those extra rules before you play. Same with Jungles of Deltrak, because there's pages and pages of like extra stuff. And I guess against the Ogre Horde in a way too, because those, the arena is brand new. That was not part of the classic. But although with that, once you're past that, it'd be easy. So I don't think there's anything really in First Light. I guess there are those arena sections, without spoiling too much. So there'd be a little bit, but that would be just for that quest, right? So with regular Hero Quest, the original game system, like when you get to the Castle of Mystery, all of a sudden things are different. You walk through a door and it teleports you. So you have to, as Zargon, you read that for a second and then you explain it to the heroes. Like, okay, in this quest it's different. This is something different happens. So you can easily adapt. But with Rise of the Dread Moon, it was more like, okay, I got to read a lot more stuff. So, little different.
Yeah, the question, Kurgan. I fully agree with you. Okay. The question for me is, with Rise of the Dread Moon, Jungles of Delrak, I will put aside the Ogres quest pack. Okay, but with Rise of the Dread Moon, can you imagine kids playing such quest pack? Because Hero Quest is intended to be played by kids. That's the original concept. Maybe there are so many concepts, so many mechanics that went a little bit far, in my opinion. Okay.
More like an advanced Hero Quest, like this is the next stage.
Yeah.
Because for us, it only came out 2 years in. It's more like, okay, so if you imagine the original Hero Quest, 1989, this would be like 1995. It comes out, and people are like, "Whoa!" Those kids are older, and they're like, the next stage. But yeah, if you're playing it from if you're 6 years old or 7 years, you're like, Daddy, can you be Zargon? I don't understand all this. Or you just be like us, where we don't understand half the stuff, and so we just made it up. based on what we think would work best. Oh yeah, this is how the disguise works. Oh, this is how the hideout works, and we're not even reading it. We're just making it up. Maybe so. Maybe so. Yeah. So what you're saying is, for us as adult players, it doesn't matter so much. But yeah, giving it to its intended audience. Yeah. Despite Amalgamash's great joke about it being ages 14, more like 41. Maybe a little hard. So maybe because of that, First Light is better for those beginner players, for those younger players, or people who are not used to playing dungeon crawlers at all, to just have, slightly more advanced, but not so advanced as those two new originals. So maybe Rise of the Dread Moon and Jungles of Delthrak, because they're new content, are for hardcore players. Although First Light is new content as well, but it's more like Stephen Baker going back to the drawing board and just like, he's not changing the rule mechanics so much as just writing an alternate adventure, an alternate campaign. Because it's 10 quests versus 14. Takes place at the same time. I think some people were afraid that this would replace the game system. I still don't think there's any truth to that. I don't think we have to be worried, but is there still some doubt in your mind that maybe this would replace the game system, or I guess the second part would be that they would all start becoming cardboard to save money?
No, I don't think so. But I can see, because I use the app a little bit to see a little bit of the quest. I don't want to give up spoilers, but there's a quest that is a redemption quest, I believe, of an old infamous quest I don't want to name.
All right.
Well, okay. you can give us some clue if you want.
Well, what was an infamous quest where the people get in different room without the possibility to keep the group together. I love
those kind of quests.
Split the party. Oh man.
Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, Jungles of Delthrak and Rise of the Dread Moon. I mean, I think Avalon Hill want to put their own mark on it. They want to show that they do something different than the standard, because they are the quest made by them, by the group, completely, without original authors or anybody else. No, they're not classic quests. They're a little bit different.
Mm-hmm. Even though you could say they have inspiration. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they look. I agree with Bohemius. They look so different. They have a different flavor. That's true, and it's something every one of us can understand. Avalon Hill is carry on with the franchise, the future. So they should think in the future and make new things, and that's great. That's great. HeroQuest is growing thanks to Avalon Hill. That's the truth. In my opinion, Jungles of Delthrak has gone a little bit back to the classic concept. It adds new mechanics, new concepts, but I see it a little bit more simpler than Rise of the Dread Moon, and I like it. That such kind of change, I like it. But yeah, there are new concepts, new adventures, new stories, new lore, and that's great. Not sure if Jace has checked the app a little bit, or
he's hanging out from the spoilers. He's got cotton balls in his ears right now because he doesn't want to hear it. No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm really curious to see what Amalgamash does, because I know he is very much, at least he said in the past, that like when leaks happen, he's like not touching it until it officially comes out. But since this is kind of a weird gray area because the app is out, but not the product, so I don't know what he'll do. I'm really curious to see what his comments will be, but I'm sure soon enough we'll see. And Sir Death, he usually waits until the dust is settled, so he'll probably do a video It makes me curious, though. Yeah, like what's going to happen with the release? Are they going to say anything? Because I mean, I guess we've got another week until the next convention, where they could go, oh, it's coming out November 1st, or whatever they might say.
Last spoilers have been quite quite surprising. Let's remember how the Jungles of Delrak was a spoiler. Do you remember? First of all, with such fake cover art of the box.
Yes. The fake box, which had some real art embedded in it, if you were very careful.
Later on, I think 1 or 2 months later, not too much. I think the right cover was leaked somewhere, or maybe by Avalon Hill itself in Discord. I don't remember, but yeah, the spoilers in the last releases looked a little bit too explicit, in my opinion. Not like we had with Rise of the Dread Moon or others, which were more, let's say, let's say less explicit. We had to guess a lot and speculate a lot. If you remember the first cover we saw about the cover art of Rise of the Dread Moon, we saw it in the background of a video. Let's see, onto the cell.
Yeah, I think it was in Carmine. It was doing this puzzle for us.
Yeah.
And now it's not here.
Now that he's no longer with the company, he doesn't have that same level of gamesmanship to. Well, and thinking way back to the Frozen Horror, remember how it was just in the background? And was it Doug that said, well, people just have to chill while they wait for it, like wait for the information to come out? It's like, come on. It's right there. And then, yeah, they made another joke. I'm trying to remember which box it was, but they took that same video where I want to say it was Craig Von Ness and Doug Hopkins or somebody else were talking, and you saw the box in the background, so they copied and pasted it, the new cover over the top. Well, then we had all this nonsense with the Clark Mitchell cover, but I mean that was something different. That was people were upset about the AI look of it and said, nope, we need a new one. So they gave us the better cover. I was just putting out these are all the new heroes that they've created for Hero Quest so far. I think we've got them all. So we've got the Monk, Knight, Bard, Druid, Berserker, Explorer, and Rogue. So that's pretty big expansion. And then, 2 brand new expansions. So Jungles of Deltarak, Rise of the Dread Moon. And then, of course, they've added content through, those individual small quests that they've done. The Arena, and now First Light. Spirit Queen's Torment, Prophecy of Telor. I mean, I always forget about those when I'm thinking about new content. Those were with the Mythic tier, but then they came to retail. And they basically use the same assets as the game system, although Crypt of Perpetual Darkness that we've been playing uses some Keller's Keep, some Return of the Witch Lord assets. So, yeah. That's a crazy cover. Well, guys, any other thoughts right now about First Light? So no new spoilers, just waiting to see the difficulty calculations that Hispozargon puts out.
Yeah, I was Kurgan. I was thinking again about the if First Light were released in November. Let's think that just the Gen Con, I think, was in August. Correct me if I am wrong.
Yeah,
please.
August 1st through 4th.
It was in August.
Yep.
Okay, so on the Gen Con we saw a new cover art for First Light, because all the problems we realized about the artificial intelligence or not cover art, the original one we know. Mm-hmm. So they saw us a new cover art, the one you have now in the screen, and but we didn't see the back of the box.
Correct.
So they didn't have it ready yet, probably.
Right.
We saw also the Evil Wizard screen was too big to be inserted inside the box. it was just a prototype, and there were other elements from the box which looked also like a prototypes. Correct me if I am wrong. You were there.
Yeah, I was there. I have no issues with the board fitting in the box, but I guess I never really bothered to measure the GM screen to see if it needed to be folded more times to go inside. Because yeah, it looks like a big solid piece, unless they were to fold it in the middle, like add another seam to fold it. And I didn't get a look. I wish I had. I think Daedalus, and I wish I had connected with him. I didn't know who he was. But from Ye Olde Inn, he, I think, saw the other side. But I don't know. So some people were confronted and told, hey, I know you saw that, but don't tell anybody yet, please. Just a friendly agreement. So I wonder if we will hear from him or from anyone else who just happened to glance. Because it's not like they were guarding it. All you had to do was just glance over there and, oh, I see what's on the other side. I'm curious about the whole prototype thing. I mean, I know they did say about the dice, oh, these colors are not final. But do you think the miniatures will change or
the speculation about they could be green? No, purple. Purple color was the color which was.
Oh, the movement dice purple.
Yeah.
Interesting.
No, all the dice purple. It looked like. Yeah. But another thing. Okay. We insist you see the cards, but I believe they don't put all the cards in there in the set.
No, I think there's at least one more card.
Okay.
One more card.
Multiple, not just one. They're missing many cards. We were checking the long sword. Okay, it's like they made that kit just for Gen Con. They rush it. Okay, they had the product finished, but they were missing elements.
Well, I will say that the cards that I saw, every single one of them was different than the 2021-2022 game system. Not in terms of artwork, but in terms of text. The text was formatted differently, and there were different wordings of things. So, like, just as an example, so the potions in the treasure deck have the little flavor text saying, what it was, like, oh, it smells like flowers, or, something like that. And the spells had different descriptions. So instead of saying, it blasts with flames, it would be like, is singed by fire, or something like that. And Tempest, they took away the description. Like, it just says, it causes the monster to lose a turn. Like, it doesn't say envelops in a small whirlwind. So there are little things like that. I'm sure, I couldn't take pictures, but I'm sure like the weapons were described differently as well. So instead of saying like a heavy metal blade, it would just be like a heavy metal sword, or just a couple words are different. So they could tell at a glance. And of course, 2024 copyright date on it as well. But yeah, could there be tweaks in there as well? Maybe. But as far as like missing cards, it's hard for me to remember. It's not like I counted them all. But I thought all the dread spells were there. There were 12 of them. The treasure deck was the same size. The treasure deck didn't have any new like items. They just had different descriptions. The artifacts that we remember, the new ones like the Rod of Telekinesis and Phantom Blade, all those were there. And there were still the same number of duplicates of each of the cards that we remember. So there was like 3 crossbows and 3 long swords and so forth. But yeah, as far as are there public photos of those? No. So I guess you're just taking my word for it. But yeah, could something have changed? Maybe they rushed it through. Maybe they find a typo or they think it could be better. Like Tempest feels like they should put the text in there. I asked Doug about it and he said, well, maybe they did that because it'd be easier to translate. Because when you translate something that has different amounts of text. Of course, he didn't say it as if like I know the answer. It's just that was his thought. So he must not have been in charge of that part of it. So, but you think there might be more, like more?
Well, maybe. Well, it depends, but maybe some artifact cards, new artifacts would be.
Could be.
I think it would be great, but not sure if they they really thought they are necessary. My concern is if they saw it during the Gen Con, and it was on August, uh, if it is really planned to be released in November
Hmm.
or for Christmas, let's
Hmm.
say,
Hmm.
um, how much time gets? Yeah, you know how much time gets a container coming from Asia, from China or whatever it is made and being corrected. So I think there's not enough time.
So it's
Only
done.
if the yeah only if the GenCon prototype shown there was just a very early prototype, and
Mm.
they made further changes in between.
Mm.
Otherwise, it would be impossible to have everything finished in
Mm.
November.
Mm.
In my opinion, I see it
It's a good
quite
thought.
difficult.
Yeah, yeah. But well, yeah. So they could have had it
I,
already done, but maybe it wasn't a significant enough change that they needed. Well, let me back up. So at Gen Con, they only showed us one quest. So the rest of it wouldn't have had to be, I mean, there could have been mistakes all throughout the book, and we wouldn't know about it, right? But in the app, I guess you could painstakingly go through and check and to see, like, okay, does this, well, yeah, I don't know if that really works, but yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. Um, but maybe the November or even a December release is wrong. Maybe it really will come out in January or February. Maybe it won't. But yeah, the fact that they put out the app makes me think it's coming out around that time. Because why would they release it so early? Unless, like you say, it was a mistake. So it must have been a calculation to say
yeah,
it's better if we put it out now rather than waiting. I mean, are
and
they
who can
afraid of
understand,
spoilers?
Kurgan? Who can understand that First Light is placed in the app before Jungles of Delrak?
Well, wasn't the thought there that my thought this whole time has been since they're programming this app. I don't know if it's a like an engine, like a board game engine or something, but every time there's a new like game mechanic, they have to program that in from scratch. So Jungles of Delthrak seems to have a lot of new things that they'd have to put in, not just new artwork, not just voice acting for mentor talking like they all have.
Yeah, the different paths.
Yeah, yeah, and that as well. Whereas First Light is using known components. So yes, they have the arena fight, but that's already in there because of against the Ogre Horde. The multi-stage monsters, that's there from against the Ogre Horde as well. So yeah, it would be work, but it would be the easier of the two, not just because it's 10 quests versus 16. So that's kind of my thought. I mean, yeah, it seems weird. It seems like they get it done and then they would hold it back and then just release Jungles first and then First Light closer to release. But maybe they're hoping that yeah, people will see it, try it out and go, yeah, that's they'll be talking about. Well, we're talking about it now, and so it's generating hype. Um, and they're banking on it. We're going to like what we see and say good things about it, so that will increase the interest rather than
Yeah,
people will see it and go, this is, I don't need to bother buying this.
yeah, probably you are. Well, there is another derivation of this. Yeah, maybe HeroQuest products are being sold really well, and Hasbro, well, Avalon Hill has not take does not need to take too much care about if they are spoiling too much or not, because they know that everything will be sold anyway. Maybe, who knows?
Kind of like the Empire Strikes Back novel coming out before the movie. And it's like, yeah, someone could read it and spoil the whole movie, but we don't care. They're going to see it anyway.
Well, such example is not really good.
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. I suppose not. I suppose it's different. Yeah, because a game you're going to play it. It's like if you know it really well. Because I know there's some kids who would just memorize it. Like they would just pour over it, waiting the months and months till it comes out, and then by that time, it's like they could do it in their sleep. It's like, oh yes, you go around the left corner, not the right corner, and there's going to be a trap there, so you don't go there. And oh, the secret riddle or the secret bad guy. Well, here's the solution to that. It's like, you knew this ahead of time, didn't you? So all you Zargons out there listening, I just want you to hear me very carefully. If you're going to play First Light, mix it up a little bit before you start, because everybody's seen it, except for the people who didn't peek. I mean, lots of kids out there, you know who you are. Your Christmas presents, did you peek? We never peeked, but we would shake it to see like if we could figure out what it was. Actually, I did peek at one of my birthday presents once, so I'm guilty as charged. Well, any closing thoughts before we end the stream? We said all we want to say about First Light for now.
Well, here in Spain, the people is quite impacted, quite shocked about the news with the app, and everybody's since this afternoon trying to get all the info from the app and so on. Yeah, it has been so cracking news.
I wonder so much what it's going to be like for
yeah, there are a lot of interest.
Well, and especially for Spain, because as I've heard from you and from others, the expansions have been terrible. Like they sell out and don't get restocked, and people have gotten responses back from Hasbro Spain saying, "Sorry, that's it."
Yeah, so Amazon Spain has started to release the Jungles of Derac right this week, but there are people who will be waiting for it until I guess half of October or maybe end of October.
Wow,
it is crazy, and they pre-order it during June month.
So you have to be a hardcore fan if you're in Spain.
However, for example, Toys R Us shops, they already have it, and other minor shops also have it already in there physically. Okay.
Oh man, I missed Toys R Us.
Nobody knows what has happened with this expansion, but yeah, it has been quite crazy. Lots of problems with that distribution. Yeah.
Distribution issues. Yeah. Eudoxio says hello. Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, but here's my new question. So they're calling it an expansion, and yet we also know the marketing of First Light is as a game system, as a starter set. So I wonder, will they break the rule that they have in Spain and just put it in stores like continuously? Or will they treat it like an expansion, and once they've sold out their first print run, it just doesn't come back? What do you think?
Well, first of all, let's see if First Light is released in other languages than English. I guess yes.
Well, Doug kind of dropped a hint. I know it's not his decision to make, but why would he say that, in my view, if there wasn't a possibility? Because he knows we're going to hang on his every word. But yeah, hopefully, yeah. But yeah, what if it's just a U.S. thing? That would be kind of too bad.
They're going to call it Primera Luz.
In Spanish, Primera Luz. But
they already give you the official name?
Well, the app says Al Despertar. But
Al Despertar. Okay.
Yeah, but
that's right.
Yeah, when you know a little bit of Spanish, I didn't remember.
Yeah,
Al Despertar. But let's clarify that the app does not reflect properly the Spanish translations of other expansions. Okay, so how everything has been translated to Spanish in the app does not fit
think about it.
exactly.
Should have the other languages.
Yeah, so
I would not. It's been translated The Awakening in Spanish.
Yeah. So I will not get it yet as officially. We will see, but probably will be Al Despertar or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it would be a shame if you had to get the English version and translate it yourself, but that's what fans will do. Fans are hardcore wherever you go. Yeah, the app replaces the text with the other languages. So you've got English, Spanish, French, German, Italian, and Polish. But I'm not sure if there's a physical version in Polish. Is it just the app?
No idea. It should be German,
German.
I guess. German. I think German is in the app.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say German. Yeah. But the audio is only in English.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. I was thinking like, oh, if you downloaded it in another country, maybe it would have the speech in another language, but maybe not. We need fans to record all of the lines with the voice acting.
Well, it could be done maybe by IA. By I, sorry.
Oh, I was thinking like EA, like Electronic Arts. No, AI. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I.
Intelligence of artificial. No, I get it. Yeah, they could. They could. Or text to speech or something like that. Yeah, the companion app is it's limited, but it's neat that it exists. And in this case, it gives the world a spoiler for this first light. Calculated risk, a gamble. I really like that cover art. It looks cool. I know that this is a low res image, but you've got the barbarian action pose. You've got the
Yeah, you
dwarf
see the dragon.
decked out. You got the dragon, yeah, with lots of fire and some type of army behind the flame.
It's a very classic look. This artwork has a very classic look. It could be perfectly the cover art of any role-playing game from the 90s or even 80s, and more 90s.
Even more so than the earlier cover. I like the way the elf looks. The wizard looks pretty cool too. Yeah, all things considered, it looks pretty nice. It's hard for me to see the monsters. Is that an evil army in the background there? Do you think, or do you think that's like supposed to be?
It could be
soldiers of the
They
king?
look like undead, no?
Okay.
Oh yeah, there is a scythe. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
That's
You're
right.
right. Yeah. When have we seen anybody else carrying a scythe other than the undead army? So maybe the dragon is clearing the path for the army to attack the heroes, rather than, yeah, why would he be helping you out? I don't think there's any friendly dragons. Spoilers.
And the dragon is breathing. That looks like, let's say, it's blue. The breath of the dragon is blue color, or just the contrast of the picture.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Well, if you're Godzilla, the atomic ray. Gojira. Yeah, crossover product, maybe.
And what about the dwarf's shield? The picture shown there.
Yeah, it's different. It doesn't just look like a hero shield. Well, and the new figures, the new miniatures, the elf is holding the short sword, let's say, or maybe it's a broadsword with two hands. The dwarf does have a shield. The barbarian is holding his large sword with one hand. Although the wizard is not, I mean, his other hand is holding the staff. It doesn't have the flames coming out of his palm. But his staff is like charged up with energy. So maybe the magic is channeling through the staff.
Yeah,
cool.
so
Yellow fly.
may we assume that this wizard, the wizard shown on this picture, reflects the same look as the new miniature?
Well, we've seen the
What is it?
miniature and it's different though. Other than him having a beard.
Yeah, it's slightly different. I mean, it's the same character. Okay, they're all the same character, but they are slightly different gear, different clothing. But you see the barbarian. Okay, I have the scratch on the shoulder and on the on the torso. Okay, and the miniature got exactly the same scratch.
Well, that's not
The scars.
Okay, so you mean, Bohemius, you mean that the hero shown on this artwork matches with the miniatures or not?
Okay. Now I don't remember. There were much more with the AI. Now I don't remember the alpha because this photo right now is too small for me to.
Sorry, guys. I was.
Oh, okay, but
Here's a better one.
you can see the elf with a long sword, a two-handed sword. He's not wearing a shield. Doesn't have the. So it's a new pose. Is well, actually is recalling the pose of the original art of HeroQuest. Okay, so if you go and pick up the character sheet of the elf, the very first, the one, the cardboard, remember, at that pose.
Yeah.
For the dwarf, I don't know the graphic on the shield, really. I don't remember. If you can find you see this one is like a dragon.
Yeah, it looks like a dragon. It's the face of a kind of dragon, maybe.
Unless it's like it's an artifact in the quest. I didn't see it yet because I didn't have the time to check all the quests in the app. But if you check the miniature, can you check the miniature of the dwarf of First Light?
Oh yeah.
Maybe got the same graphic on the shield.
Yeah. I'm looking for a picture. Yeah, somebody else is probably quicker than I am to find a photo.
It is nice that we are still talking about the cover art after.
See, that's why it's
months.
so important. They knew after everything that they had to address it. They couldn't just it's just a don't judge a book by its cover. Yes, in this case you have to. This is what gets everyone's attention. This is what people are buying. Okay, I'm looking. Where? I know it's in videos. The different miniatures are in videos. Did I take a picture of them specifically? Apparently not.
Yeah, probably if you dig in the HeroQuest fans Discord threads, you will find it. But yeah.
Oh, yeah. There is a picture. I know exactly which one you're talking about too. But where is it? I have to check. I have to look. So I'll let you look at this lovely picture while I search. If someone else finds it first, please post it. Okay.
Talking about the First Light story leaked, I think I see First Light story as complementary of the game system one.
Yes.
I see both can live together with not too many problems.
Do you think
even you can have you can have a party of heroes playing in one way the game system campaign, and you may have another party of heroes playing First Light in parallel, and maybe they could merge together again in the future. Why not? You can mix heroes from one party to the other and play different adventures after playing each one of the campaigns. Which I think is really nice.
I feel they're like interchangeable. You can play one First Light, one starter set and keep it interchanging. There's no need to stay on the same line.
Okay.
You can keep playing.
This is Ribby's YouTube channel. Check it out, Bourbon and Board Games. So we've got the wizard there with his fire in his hand. Got the dwarf. Oh, his shield is facing away from us. Oh man. Okay. Well,
I guess the seal is the same, okay, as shown in the cover art.
the shape of the shield is the same. Yeah, it's the round.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Good job, Ribby. He got his video out before me. I was jealous, but I mean, it's my fault for not having a mobile hotspot when I came there. I had to actually piggyback off of his phone to get my pictures. So
it is nice to see this board, this exhibition board, because all the standees are looking to the glass. Okay, so all of them looks really nice. All the monsters are very good seen and so on. But in a real game, each standee will look for a different direction, of course.
yeah,
So you will not see them as they look here, but yeah, it's nice.
there's so many videos. Well, I mean, I was noticing the board felt thinner. I mean, if they had time to make it a thicker, better quality, they could, if they wanted. If this is not final, but I don't know. I guess part of me doesn't want to get my hopes up, and I'm just gonna assume that what I saw is what I got. And if it's different and it's better, so much the better. Like, but I'm not gonna expect any more than this. What I'm seeing. All right. So yeah, there is a picture out there. I just wish I knew where it was. So I'm just gonna keep looking. It was actually one of the photos. I had it in one of my videos too. I thought.
Bohemius, do you like the dragon? Not sure if he's.
You might be muted.
Answering.
Sorry, I was muted.
You're speechless.
Yeah, I really like the art. The miniature is, I don't know. They didn't express exactly what the art was doing, because I don't know. It's missing some proportion. You see, this one is the art of the dragon, no? You
Yes,
see the
I mean
proportion of
everything,
the
the art, the miniature, everything, the stats.
Yeah,
everything.
The miniature. Okay, the art is amazing. The stats are okay. I'm talking about the miniature itself physically. I think they did some mistake. Okay, because it doesn't reflect exactly what the art want to convey. But I'm happy to have a dragon. Really happy. This is very good. I'm sure they're going to create a 3D printed version of this with more similar to the art. Because it is one of the biggest complaint of the people. People don't like how they did the dragon, the miniature.
Yeah. I think that the pose of the miniature does not help too much to love this dragon, but it is true that maybe were the pictures shown from the Gen Con. In my opinion, the dragon does not look so bad. Of course, it's not like a classic dragon. Maybe we have the awesome miniature from the Mythic Tire in our minds every time, and that was really nice. So yeah, maybe this dragon is not as good, but
if
it does not look too bad for me.
If you read the story, maybe you understand why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe from the app leaks.
Here we go, guys. Here we go.
Can we see the? There,
Ow,
here
and the
we
shield
have
is the opposite way. You would never thought about that detail.
Again.
Like,
I don't want to spoil it. Okay, because I think there's a reason why they choose this kind of dragon. Okay.
Yeah, definitely the wizard does not look exactly like in the cover art.
I will send you privately my theory.
Very nice. You can send it to me too, by the way. Yeah, looking.
Okay.
Oh, there's some more detail on his cloak I hadn't seen before. See those spiky areas and the moon? It's a little more defined. Looks like he's got bracers on. See, I never zoomed in this far with the wizard. He's clearly got a beard. Okay, and then if we look here, as best we can. Okay, I guess there's the moon on his chest, bracers, beard, spiky areas. Now, the dragon on the cover, yeah, good luck figuring out the detail on that one, because the basic shape is there. It's got a really long tail. And let's see if we've got a picture of the dragon miniature. Well, I know. I can pull up my video. My video. I'm quoting me now. So we'll just go to my videos. Let's see. Hold on. Can I find one of my own videos? Go ahead. You guys can keep talking if you want. You don't have to wait for me. It's my Gen Con videos. Everybody's probably getting tired, but
Yeah.
I know when
another thing there.
Doug was doing his introductions. Yeah, go ahead.
I can talk with Mr. Sargon. Do you see the new mechanic
tell
of
me.
the blessing and curses?
Well, I saw it in a RAS, okay, looking at the app. Well, it's quite powerful. Oh no, sorry, I am confusing with the horn new mechanic. The horn is quite powerful.
The hearth corn.
Once,
Hearth corn.
yeah,
Corn.
yeah,
Horn. Hearthkin horn.
yeah,
That's what it's called. Yeah, I'm saying it wrong.
yeah. It's yeah, it's a new artifact, okay, and it has a lot of. It is quite powerful in my opinion, at least as far as I have, as far as I have seen in the app, okay. And about the blessing, yeah, I'm checking right now, okay. But yeah, it in my opinion, it looks like a similar or a linked mechanic, maybe with the concept that Stephen Baker made with the Talisman of Lore in Prophecy of Telor. It is quite clear that Stephen Baker loves to see interaction between artifacts and the heroes in some way. But I think the blessing thing is also such kind of concept. We consider the hand of the creator, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, here you see the hand of a fan right there. So, can you guys see that at all?
And the blessing, Bohemius, I see it. Yeah, I have checked it right now. I didn't remember, but yeah, it's the Jenny concept in some way. The Jenny spell concept in some way. Don't you think the same?
Yes, in a way. Yeah, in a way it is. But I mean, as a concept like this, for example, there's it's so difficult to talk without spoiling stuff.
Yeah, of course. Well,
Yeah.
another interesting point. Sorry, Bohemius, for interrupting you, but it's the concept of blessing and gods that was outside the Hero Quest remake at all, and they have introduced it a little bit on this first slide. I would say expansion, but it's not an expansion. It's a game system again.
Well, but is it a blessing or a curse anyway, bonded to religion? No, I mean, so they're like archaic concept. They may become from folklore to religion, but anyway, in the fantasy world, that can come from magic.
Yeah, I am comfortable with that. No problem.
Mhm. So a
I
person
don't see a
could
big problem.
interpret it different ways. Like, yeah, does when a god or god does something wondrous, is it a miracle or is it magic? In the fantasy world, you could decide. Yeah, is a blessing, yeah, tied to some spiritual belief, or is it just some other form of magic? Yeah, who's to say?
Yeah, but I understand what Esparzago want to point that you talk about a specific quest where there's like a figure that is
Hmm.
you can say that is a religious figure, right?
I know what you're talking about too, and I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Uh, I think you can see it in both ways. You understand?
They're opening the door just a little,
Reli-
just a crack, so that if you want
religious,
to bring that into your table, you can, or you wouldn't have to. You just keep it that vague.
you can see it religiously, but also very magical as a concept. Foresee in the future.
Sure. Well, I'm thinking of, without spoiling it, I'm thinking of Talisman. In Talisman, you have characters that are described certain ways, their occupations, but it doesn't give deep details about it. So if you wanted to write a little story about it and fit it into the world that you're crafting behind the game, you could. Or you could just kind of leave it as what's written and just leave it to the imagination of the individual players. Maybe. So I've been looking at the dragon miniature, and can you guys tell me? I feel like it matches the art pretty well, unless there's some part of it I'm not seeing. Is it because the tail isn't as long in the?
Okay. Can you put it on the screen? I point out what I mean.
Okay, so this is the.
This is the art. Okay.
Yeah, we're going a little
Maybe
longer.
the
Go ahead.
maybe the artwork of the dragon looks there a little bit slender, not less fat than the miniature.
Exactly. Okay. They are proportional. I want to talk about proportion. That's why
Oh, I see.
the proportion of the legs, the proportion of the arms, the neck and the chest. Okay, they are completely misproportioned on the miniature.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see it now. I see it now.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a kind of
So,
stubbier neck.
He got two longer legs. They are is hunched in the position, so even the neck is not straight like in the art. The arms probably are the part more
Stretched out more.
normal, which I mean the more close to the art. And the chest, yes, is too large. It's supposed to be a reptilian. That one is a chest of a humanoid.
I see what you're saying now, because based on what you might know about the story, it might make sense that the miniature looks that way.
Exactly.
Yes, now I begin to see. I'm thinking along your wavelength now. Okay. Oh man, I want to say it so bad.
Maybe the horns are too separated in the miniature and not too and a bit closer in the artwork. Also, everything looks wider in the miniature.
Yes, the miniature is too wide. Yes.
I thought could be the optical effect due to the two square base, but it really looks more fat.
Fat dragon. So there's the before picture, and then there's the after picture. Before the diet, after the diet. Yeah, you're right. The chest in the card art looks small, and it's kind of funny because I thought the same thing with the mythic tier when they showed the digital concepts of each of the characters. I was like, whoa, they look so exaggerated. You know, they look so cartoonish almost. And then the artwork on the cards reflected that same kind of, I don't know, cartoon or comic book look rather than the more realistic look, representational look. But then when we got the actual figures, the plastic figures felt more subdued. Like they felt a little more normal, I guess for lack of a better term. So whereas here it's the opposite. It's like we see this big fat dragon and then we see like a little diminished artwork dragon in the photo. Maybe he's eaten a few people before he appeared.
Yes. It's really a matter of proportion, okay? Even if I'm playing and painting miniature for many years, okay? And when I notice there's a disproportion in the miniature, is hard for me to accept it because it's don't make me like the miniature, okay? Because if it doesn't, it's like the golden. How is called that? So golden. It's called in English.
The golden mean? Is that or no?
No,
Yeah, the golden ratio.
the
golden ratio.
The golden ratio. Okay.
Yeah.
In English it's called the.
I had to dig in my.
It's inside of us. We cannot do anything about it. Okay, we perceive it as a perfection. So more is close to the perfection, more is close to the proportion. So if the proportion of something that you will expect in a certain way are different, you will feel like rejecting the item.
And what if
you see? Look how Anche is. When you look at the neck. Okay, from this side, you can see it. He's like hunched with the neck forward.
Knees are bent.
If you look at the art, it's not.
What if the dragon miniature we have seen in the Gen Con, what if it was also a prototype and it is not the final
it's
one?
Possible. It's possible, and it maybe is the reason why it's taking longer is that they can fix it. I mean, they have time to fix
very
it.
important. It's like the centerpiece.
Okay, because I mean, they had all this time since Gen Con. Okay, every single person in the online is complaining about the dragon. So you understand they can even think about changing, but I don't think so. Okay, if it's going to be released for the end of the year, if is going to be released for February, maybe.
Yeah, I know. They could make it one of those rubber bendy figures, so you bend the neck forward to the pose that you want. No. It's
Well, Kurgan touched it, the very original dragon.
Yeah, I did, and it's not bendy. Yeah, I don't mind how the dragon looks. I think it looks cool. I think the picture looks cool too, but I see it now, what you're saying about the proportions. I guess I hadn't looked closely enough. And let's see. You can almost picture how many squares wide that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, maybe
For
10,
me, one
squares.
of the most disappointing things were the doors. We have there the doors.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't have any problem in cardboard doors. Many games of the 90s used them and in the 80s. However, the problem is that for me, a closed door and an open door look mostly the same.
Too similar.
So it's similar. It's different to see exactly each one onto the board.
What they
because
could have
they
done,
look so similar.
They could have made that black void punch out and then have like a transparent plastic, like cellophane.
Okay.
To make it but if it were like stiff plastic, but see-through, then because the problem with the old doors was that it was just a rim of cardboard, and it could easily bend inside the box.
Yeah.
But
they crush it so easy.
Crushed, yeah. With plastic doors, you don't have to worry. But yeah, with this, they must have decided, because they could just make the piece slide out and have it just be a void, be a hole.
Well, maybe everybody could homebrew it at home with a cutter and make it
Yeah. Get a
like the
clear
classic
plastic.
ones.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. I wanted to scan my doors and print them out and use the bases that they put in Rise of the Dread Moon and Mage of the Mirror and have additional doors. But yeah, I mean you could easily do that. Yeah.
Okay, we will see.
Yeah. All right. Have we exhausted everything? Are we exhausted? No. We talked some more about First Light. No, this is good. I enjoy the discussion. Oh, I guess you can see this corner of the GM screen. You can see body points, mind points, defend dice. So on the right panel, that must be where the monsters are described.
Yeah.
Oh, but in the original, it was, well, in the original it described the furniture, but in the North American version I'm used to, the monsters are described in the middle portion. So if they're shunted off to the side, then I wonder what's in the middle on the other side that
Yeah.
only Zargon could see. It'd be the description of what the heroes can do on their turn, maybe similar to the reference cards, maybe a key for the map symbols. Yeah, but it's like all the shots that I wished I had taken while I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think we could probably do another show talking about all this stuff, but thank you for your comments. And thanks, Ribby, for sticking around as well to watch us. I guess we can do a raid now. Thanks, Eudoxio, Hispazargon, Jimmy Lee for Morcar, Rob Champ, Bohemius, Jacer, Glasgow, everybody who stopped by as well. And
Thank you so much, Gurgan.
Yeah, thanks for. It's nice to have you on the stream again. And tomorrow we have a stream, so we can always take up more game time if more things are revealed that we want to talk about. All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.
Good game, everybody.
See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye. And we'll do the raid.
Bye bye.